Hi guys! Like many of you, we're experiencing a heat wave, record temperatures here in Maryland, and this is in the shade, so I'm not sure what it is in the sun, but I'm going to have to film in small snippets just because I don't think my camera can handle so much heat. Looks like the geraniums are thriving on the heat. They look pretty terrific. This is a mix that I got from Lowe's. Each plant was $1, I think. They were on sale. They were looking quite terrible and neglected, but I got these about a month and a half ago and just potted them around the garden. I didn't even know what color they were, but it looks like they're some type of violet and scarlet. So I think that's a really pretty combination. And I am keeping them watered, but they don't seem to mind this heat. Here are some more of my dollar geraniums from Lowe's that I got about 6 weeks ago. They're looking great. The coleus that I cut back and took cuttings from is looking fantastic. You can't even tell where the cuttings were taken. It has bushed back out beautifully. And the one thing that excites me is that this little piece that I stuck in rooted in very nicely, giving me a total of 4 different coleus in this container. The Angelonia and the petunias are loving the heat. They're doing well. Of course, because they're in containers and they're annual plants, they do need a lot of water, and I'm happy to oblige with that. But they're looking really nice. That's what I love about annuals. Many of them thrive in the heat. Got lots of black-eyed Susans all over the garden thanks to my friend Lori. These are the native flower for Maryland. It's the state flower, and I just love them. They're so reliable, and sometimes they're the only thing blooming in August. They can really handle that heat. Got some beautiful bright zinnias. Sorry about the air conditioner noise, guys, but even if I do it later in the evening, it's going to be on. Gotta keep the house cool. This one's a particularly pretty one. Love that color. It's got a fuchsia center and then a peachy color. I'm gonna try to save seeds from that. I'm wondering if that's queen lime, a version of the queen lime. So beautiful. So my polytunnel vegetable garden is doing pretty well. One thing that's really taken off in the heat are the different types of flowers that I have back here. I've got these, I think they're called Mission marigolds. They're very tall. They're very pretty. But it's a tall type marigold. And I took some geranium cuttings back here, and they're happy in there because I do water these regularly. And that's a good way to keep your cuttings. Put it next to something that you water regularly. But I did pull out the beans back here. Let me show you what I have going on. Looks like a new bean I planted has grown in. And I have one zucchini plant that came up. And I have 3 transplants that I had been growing that I put in, and they are the zinnia cactus. And I grew them all together in a pot, and I've sort of spread them throughout the garden. I even have 2 over there on the side of this older zucchini plant. And I've got zinnias that are growing through there. They're beautiful pink. But if you're wondering what this white powder is, this is crushed eggshells, and I have a dedicated coffee grinder that I go ahead and I grind up all my eggshells. But that is one way that I naturally fertilize the garden. And this bullseye geranium is so pretty. It's really just a beautiful plant. I don't even like the flowers that much. They're a little bit ultraviolet for me, but the plant itself is really beautiful. Here's another pretty red geranium growing back here. About to put out a bloom, but I've actually incorporated more flowers this year in my vegetable garden up here, and I think it's good. It attracts the pollinators, and it's just also a very pretty addition. But I figure if my zucchini gets taken out by squash vine borers, I have another new one back there, and I planted some yellow squash under here. So I'll have replacements if anything happens to some of the older plants, which I really trimmed back. And let's take a peek at my cushaw squash. It is really getting big. I'll try to get you back there. I hope you can see it. It's really plumping up. And this is the first time I've grown it before. I do also have some ginger here growing, and I've never grown that before. So we'll have to see. I'm not sure that was a big enough pot for the ginger. It's kind of small. So I might have done better giving it a bigger pot. But we'll see. But so far, with lots of water that I have provided, this bed is doing okay. Pretty well, actually. And here's another zucchini plant. I originally had it in a more shady location, and actually it's still in a more shaded location than some of the others, but it's finally gotten its size, and it's looking great. I've got two very sad looking cushaw squash vines back here. They're quite droopy. I don't think they're enjoying the heat, and I'm going to have to go get some water. But plants will send water back to their roots during a hot day, and then at night they'll send that water back up, and it's a way that they can conserve water. And that's why you see the droop. But I have been trying to give my plants a lot of support throughout this really, really hot weather. It looks like maybe I have a cushaw squash down here that, if it gets pollinated, might develop. That would be very exciting. My little watermelon plant has really taken off. So hopefully that's going to give me a couple of little watermelons. This is one of the sugar babies, so they should be a small watermelon if they develop, but they certainly do like it when it gets hot. And it's running all the way back there through the ground cover. And let me show you over here. We have a spectacular display of Joe Pye weed. And this is from my friend Lori. She gave these to me several years ago, and I planted them throughout this area, thinking they would look kind of natural. I think they look really beautiful. And I love the way the flowers catch the sun. And of course the pollinators love it. And I have some more black-eyed Susans here. I actually have a pretty big stand of black-eyed Susans underneath the Joe Pye weed. So I love how natural this area is looking. Even the Joe Pye weed that's in the shade does well. It's an easy plant, no fuss plant. So I think that's looking so nice. And then down here I had planted some butternut squash seeds about 3 weeks ago on this side. Here's some zinnias. These are more of the cactus zinnias. And then I have 3 more butternut squash over here. So hopefully there's enough time for them to put out some fruit, and maybe I'll get some butternut squash in the fall. We'll see. We'll keep an eye on those. And then I have pepper plants in here. And these pepper plants I don't think are getting enough sun. And we'll have to see if that affects the squash too, the amount of sun that they get, because this does get quite a bit of shade. Here's a wider angle view for you. This is definitely the prettiest time of the day for the Joe Pye weed. They look so pretty over here, especially the ones that are catching the light. Indoors, I've started a tray of snow peas. Our snow pea crop was so delicious, And they die back when it gets hot, so I figure I'll do another round for the fall. But they have to be inside because they do not like it hot. I'll put these out in a month when the temperatures have come down a bit. So guys, with lots of watering, the garden is thriving even though it's been super duper hot here. And I think I'll go in before my camera gets overheated. But I always enjoy being in my garden no matter what the temperature is. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.